Good morning. I'm Reverend Teresa Phillips. And it is my honor to be with you today, Valentine's Day 2021. And I invite you to join me right here and right now. Know with me that all is right, all is perfect, all is the divine. And be centered right here, right now. Let go of any disturbances. Let go of anything that might be in your path. Let go of any visuals you may see. And instead see the purity, the truth of this meditation. For they are more than words. I choose this morning to really allow myself to connect with the divine, that God essence, that inner connection that I have to the mighty. I have my word for the divine, God, universal mind. But each person has such a unique and beautiful connection with the divine that each person has their own special name for the divine. So I invite you to just loosen up, just let yourself go and be in the moment and feel that within you that is so much greater than your personality, your name, what you identify with, that feeling inside that there is so much more. That is your connection. And I invite you to come with me on a path. And it is a beautiful path. And it is in the woods. And as we walk along the pathway is bright. It is beautiful. And it is sparkling. And the sparkling is really an invitation, saying, come, journey, discover who you really are. And along this pathway we approach a mountain. And as we look up at the majesty of the mountain, we see it much greater than an outcrop of rocks. We see how the rocks have built upon one another and go higher and higher and higher into the sky. And we realize that whatever we are thinking, whatever is making our mind busy, whatever may seem as an obstacle to us, is just a moment in time. And we think of our life, our human form, and it too is a moment in time. We think about whatever our worries, problems, obstacles are that we may have in our mind, and realize that they are just transient. That this rock formation, that is just a rock, just a formation, has been here for centuries before we were even born. And this beautiful mountain will continue to be there for centuries after we have made our transition. The mighty, the sturdy pile of rocks we call a mountain. So is what I am so worried about or thinking about or in the way, does it really deserve that much attention and fear or frustration from me? No, because there's always a pathway around. And as we see on our journey, this gorgeous mountain, it has pathways around it and through it. And as we walk along the pathways around the mountain and look up, and we see the eagles and the ospreys up there in the sky, just floating and hovering, catching the wind and feeling the freedom. And we allow ourselves to feel that freedom, to flow and let go and just see ourselves floating above whatever concerns we may have, above a busy mind, and feel the lightness and the releasing and the freedom of just being the beautiful experience of life that each of us are. And we realize that we are not the only beauty in life. That everyone we meet on our life's journey are themselves a beautiful and divine creation. That each one was born with a purpose and a gift. So how else can I see life but a beautiful miracle of one moment at a time, one breath at a time, and I have the power to breathe, to live, to do, to be. For I am a creation of the Most High, a creation of that thing that has created the entire universe. That is me. That is you. That is the world, and so much greater than the world. For I am one with the divine, and within me that life energy has the life force and the energy to create, to expand, to give life. Every moment I breathe, I give more life to the world, not just to me. Every breath I take, every motion I make, I am giving life to the world, because I am a flowing and clear vessel or line through which the love, the creativity of that divine creative life force expresses in, as, and through me, little old me. So do I think I'm important? No. I know I am important. But it's more than the me am important. It is the I am important because the divine is the creative energy working through me always. I would never have been born if I was not a gift and important. It's very simple. But life is like mining when I look at that mountain. Learning how to live day to day. Discovering who I am. And yes, in today's world and for centuries, mankind have had to rediscover who they were. Rediscover the beauty of who they were. The ability of what we can do. Rediscover the limitless power that is within each and every one of us to be and create. This is life. This is the divine. This is who each of us are. The beautiful journey called life. One step at a time. So I ask that you be gentle with yourself. I ask that you see the importance and the preciousness of your life. It is so extremely important. For all is the divine. And you are the divine. And you have your own pathways. You have your own mountains. And you have your own unique, incredible beauty to give and to share. Regardless of your age, firstborn to 105, 100, and who knows how old. Nothing can stop that light of life within you. Nothing can stop the creative divinity of who you are. So I ask you in your mind to throw open the shutters to the window to see that beautiful life and let the light in and see who you are and experience it as truth. So we leave the mountain, so beautiful, and we become quiet and still and become the one with the divine peace, peace, quiet, peace. And so it is.
Good morning. Welcome to Centers for Spiritual Living Red Deer. And as I was meditating with Reverend Teresa, I have to apologize because she broke something loose in my throat, and I don't know what it was she was talking about that was really resonated with me, so I had to leave and have a cough.
I'm the bad guy.
And as I was sitting there, when I came back, I had this little chant that came to me that I'd like to share. And it, we all know it. It's one of my favorite songs, and it says, come in and sit down. You are a part of the family. So wherever you are, come in and sit down and know that you're a part of our family. Today's such a special day. It's February the 14th. It's Valentine's Day, Agape Day, where we love everything about everyone. And it's got not as much to do with the heart as it does with the mind, and how it's so our monthly theme, One Journey, Many Paths, really speaks to we all want the one same thing. We all want to be loved. So I'm going to start with our opening affirmation, and if you have it at home, read it with us, and otherwise just let us read this to you and make it your truth. Trusting, I awake to a new and fuller idea of love. Love lives as me, walks as me, and talks as me. Every moment is filled with its presence. Simply, I am in love with my world and consciously embrace love as a way of being. I love life and life loves me, and so it is. And not coincidentally, our children's word today is also love. And, we can all embrace this message too, that love is caring for someone, wanting to be near them, and wanting to share with them. It's a special feeling that fills your heart. Loving people means treating them with special care and kindness. You can show love in a smile, a pleasant way of speaking, a thoughtful act, or a hug, virtual, of course, for some of us. And our affirmation is, at all times I give love. So let's say that together. At all times I give love. And now I have the great privilege of introducing my friend and my first teacher, Reverend Teresa Phillips, who's going to speak today about what? Oh, love, faith, and courage. I think maybe that's her middle name. Please welcome Reverend Teresa, Love, Faith, and Courage Phillips.
Thank you, Reverend Joanne. Actually, my middle name is always getting into trouble. It's hyphenated. It's a beautiful day. And it was wonderful this morning when we were driving here, because The wind was blowing, and of course it's icing up the roads, but the wind was blowing, and it looked like it was dancing in the streets. It was beautiful to see the snow dancing across the road. So I really felt there's beauty everywhere if you look for it. Well, a happy Valentine's Day. It's a special day today. And when I got up really early. Actually, I'm one of these people that hardly ever sleeps. So anyway, I was up really early. The dog even was still sleeping. And normally, if he knows you're up, he's ready thinking, okay, I'm ready to eat, where's the food? But there I was, up there. And I saw the most beautiful glow in the morning. It was a pink morning when the sun rose. It was very nice. So how are you today? Today is Valentine's Day. But it's a day to spend special attention to yourself. So the reason I'm asking how are you today, I want to know how your day's going, because last night I was working on what I wanted to say. This morning, of course, I discover what I'm going to say. Well, things have changed because life has always been happening around us. So this morning I realized that there had been an earthquake in the Bashaw or Exshaw and Dead Man Flats area. That's Reverend Doug's old stomping grounds. They actually had an earthquake there last night. It was a 4.4 earthquake. So, how many people realized that while we were doing whatever we were, someone else was experiencing an earthquake? And I remember here we had our own earthquake, and I get up really early, and I saw the whole a light move on the speaker, and I thought, oh yeah, imagination. There you go, Tress. You always have a big imagination. Then I found out Red Deer actually had the earthquake. That was about a year ago. But all these things happen to us. Are we paying attention? And then I've discovered something, and it was so exciting that happened that I did my little happy dance, and it was actually a big happy dance. But it was such a big deal, I went and woke up Sweet Babu, and I woke him up because we have a friend, and I said, okay, look at this. And it was on the phone, and he looks at this, and it says, winner of the Lotto Max, $190,000. That's our friend. I said, do you know who that is? And I'm thinking, well, way to go. Isn't that exciting? Just a fellow bought a ticket. So he had that experience because he chose to make a decision, and that was to buy a ticket. So how many decisions do we make, and how do they affect us? What they wanted me to talk about, the title, was quite different from what it was. They wanted me to talk about the infinite invisible. But for me, what I could relate to was love, faith, and courage. Something each of us need. So what are the earthquakes in our lives? What changes them? Well, it could be just like, boom, it catches us and we don't even know. Or we find out, oh, something has happened, and it's changed the outcome of my life. Sort of like this earthquake I heard about yesterday. Sometimes I'm not aware that something is changing my life till it's changed it, and I think, oh my goodness, life's a little bit different. I've just found with my life, that's quite often, just to always take stock, what's going on? How am I ready to meet it? And then when I get the, oh no, I'm all by myself, and all this, reality is I remember, okay, now, I'm not all by myself. Something put me here on earth, and that something is in, as, back, and through me, and will always be there to work through me and guide me. All I have to do is ask. On Facebook, I've noticed that there is a questionnaire, and I've been tempted to fill it out, but I haven't, and it's all about, when did you meet your sweetie? And your first date, and who said love first, and all that kind of stuff. Well, I thought, you know what? I'm going to talk about when I met my sweetie. That's called Mr. Sweet Baboo. Because we met at a Woolco store in 1974. And we used to go for walks through beautiful, beautiful area. There were sand dunes and pine trees and spruce trees, and you'd walk along and you'd look over the river. It really made my heart sing, that place. Well, that place is still there. That place is a shopping mall in Red Deer. And it's Walmart that's there now. The beautiful sand dunes, they're gone. The beautiful spruce and pine trees, they're gone. The river's still there. But what was there that I found the beauty in has totally been demolished, and it's houses and concrete and stores. However, that love that I felt for this poor little fellow who just moved from Vancouver, innocent little fellow, I saw him and I thought, aha, he's a pretty good guy. Womp. I'll tell you, I am so glad that I met Sweet Baboo, because we have had changes. We have had earthquakes. Our first Christmas we were together, we only knew each other 2.5 months. And he was from BC, so we had nowhere to go, come to mom and dad's, okay. Then Christmas morning, both of us woke up. We each had separate bedrooms. We're talking about the 1974 ideas. And he told me about this dream he had. And I had had exactly the same dream. I told him I had the same dream. We have since, at least on 2 occasions, said, I had this dream, and the other one had exactly the same dream that night. So there is a connection much deeper than I'll understand. I mean, we only knew each other 2 months, and we were both dreaming the same. And it wasn't about any event that happened. It was one of those odd dreams, but we both had the same dreams. So there is a connection there. And part of this, the earthquakes, the changes, the what's going on, is we had a son. We were together about 7 months, and he was transferred, so we got married. And we moved out to the coast, and we've been married almost 46 years. About 5 years later, we had a birth of a son. Now, I thought I knew what love was about. I knew nothing about what love was about compared to how my love expanded. Because there in front of me was this innocent little fellow. And I knew the moment I laid eyes on this little fellow, and of course I thought he was pretty cute, but this little fellow, that I was from that moment on 100% responsible for that person. That I wasn't just Tress, and what do I want? Or me and my hubby, and what do I want? I was, number one, I am responsible for this innocent individual. My life needs to change right here, right now, and I need to be able to provide for this child. I need to be able to have a roof over its head, food on the table, and make sure that this little person grows up properly. And the love for that person is indescribable. But it's about, the flexibility. Love is about flexibility, about expansion, about growth. So are we ready to expand, to grow? Just think of a balloon. I remember as a little girl, we'd buy a bag of balloons, and some of them were a little heart. And of course, I couldn't blow them up. They'd go, Dad, blow the balloon up. He had way more wind than I did. And he'd blow it, and this little heart would get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And we can do that. We can include love because we are children of the divine. When we look around, everyone I see here was once that little baby, that innocent little person. So the love that I see for that one child, I now can expand and see the love for everyone a little bit greater. But you know, that love was just the tip of the iceberg. Because that helpless little fellow, and I call him the Babaloo, he had 2 children. He's the father of a teenager and a wannabe teenager. So, I mean, this is quite interesting to watch. And each of these people have their own identities. And it's incredible to watch. Because down the road, if I'm lucky enough to still be on Earth, I will see the little Babalooies have the grand Babalooies, and they'll be my great-grandchildren. But it's the love, it is the expansion, it is the growth. Am I willing to allow my heart to grow? Because the God essence is in each and every one of these unique, beautiful individuals. So there's quite often that I think I can get away with stuff. Nobody knows what's going on. But you know, people do know what's going on. There's always a trace left. There's always some connection, something there to identify with. And it's interesting because my husband's been looking up on the ancestry, the family. And my family, part of it came from Oklahoma. And they were called the Sooners because they were there before Oklahoma was built into a state. And my grandpa was a Sooner. He was born in 1888. And he ended up being brought up by an uncle or a great uncle, and I knew the man's name. Well, we got looking and we found a picture of this uncle. And this uncle was actually the first Democratic politician or senator in Oklahoma because it did become a state. I looked at this picture, and there, looking at me, was my grandfather. Spitting image. So it shows something as simple as our looks, but there's always a trace, there's always a connection. The love, the extension. So what I have done, who I am, what I leave around me never really goes away. It just enhances the world. Anyone who knows me know I love rocks. This is a rock. It's in the shape of a heart. I really like it. And I brought it because it's in the shape of a heart. And actually, I love rocks. So if you ever think my purse is heavy, it's probably half of it's full of rocks, because I really love rocks. But they sort of speak to me. This is going to be here way after I'm gone. But the one side has a fault. There's a hole in it. So you've heard of a hole in the heart. Where are we aching? What's going on? But I had a cousin actually who did have what they called a hole in his heart, and it was one of his heart valves did not work properly. But that's what they called it back then. But the interesting part is this has a hole in it. So what is it I need? Where do I feel an emptiness? And yet I turn it around. You probably can't see, but there's a brown line right down the middle. So what is split my heart? Is my heart going this way and this way? What am I believing? Do I see that I am the God essence, that divine mind is in, as and through me? And is part of me thinking, no, you're not, you're just a waste of time here on earth? Because all of us have a tangle of thoughts. And that's not bad, because thoughts come from the divine. We have the ability to think and choose and act the way we want. So how am I going to see the divide in my life? Am I going to see it as part of the whole and instead look at the oneness, the beauty of God, of the divine? Through realizing that I was responsible for another life other than my own, whole new pathways of discovery came into my life. My understanding of the love on earth continues to expand. Now every little child I see, oh my, they are so cute, and I have to confess, well, I don't have to, I'm confessing. I really have to hold myself back and not keep saying, that's such a cute little boy or little girl, that's such a precious being, because the mothers and the fathers are thinking, that's a weird old lady taken after my kids. I can get too enthusiastic when I see young children and teenagers even, because their whole life is beginning. The whole miracle of who they are, they're just building the foundation. And that little guy or little girl or that teenager that might be acting out, or so we think, and yet they're actually letting their creativity flow, they may be a great author. They could be prime minister, they could be a teacher, they could be the person who takes care of me if I ever need to go to the hospital one day. They're the future. How am I relating to those around me? Am I seeing the beauty of who they are? Because we are all one. The divine, the beautiful, the great. The Dalai Lama wrote in the book Beyond Religion, I am a man of religion, but religion alone cannot answer all our problems. Now that's a pretty bold statement. But he explains the importance, that self-givingness of life. How do I give? How can I share? It's Valentine's. I can do a little extra. Have I told someone today I love them? Have I told myself I love them? When was the last time I told if I have a partner, my partner, or someone I may work with, or my child, or someone I see, you've done a good job? When was the last time we've said that? I know that I had the privilege of being with my dad on his last few minutes here on earth. And the one thing that released him to finally relax and let go was to say, Dad, I love you and I know you've done a good job. Thank you. We can say that before it is that last minute. But we have the power through our words, through our actions, to make a big difference, no matter how young or how old we are. So, are we brave enough to see the beauty in our own lives and the importance of our contributions? The one thing I read that I really liked, and I've even put it in yellow, just in case I might have forgotten to say it. It says, moving from head to heart. And here's my little heart. Moving from head to heart means trusting feelings and imagination. Imagination is the connection with God. Now that's in big bold letters. That's in yellow, and I'm going to say it again, and I'm going to really say it. Imagination is the connection with God. And we are all here to connect, and our imagination allows us a greater connection. Now, the reason I'm emphasizing this is the one thing in life that I found challenging is that I have a great imagination. That great imagination did not fit well in school. You are not to have imagination. You are to do everything exactly the way it is. And yet there is so much more to life. So if there is someone around you that really has an imagination, honor that. And think of yourself, how many times in my growing up, becoming who I am, and we're all gifts from God to the world, how many times have I been stifled? And what have I hidden? What jewel have I hidden within me of creativity, of beauty, of expressing who I am, just to fit and do what was supposed to be done? Because the authors, the inventors, the world leaders, they allowed themselves to step over the hindrance, the mountains that were in the way. They allowed themselves pathways around. They allowed their imagination, their creativity, which is God-given, to go forward. And that is from God, our creativity, our imagination. And each of us are from the divine. Dr. Holmes says in Creative Mind and Success, we must become the thing we want. We must see it, realize it, before the creative power of the mind can work it out for us. So what do you see yourself as? Are you able to even take a little step on that pathway? Are you able to be strong and go forward? And if there are things in your way, are you able to continue on? It's your choice, because you're beautiful just the way you are, but there's so much more to experience. And the Dalai Lama says, when peace reigns in the mind, one is always happy, even if eternal conditions are not ideal. So I challenge you. Let peace be in your mind. Follow your dreams. Take a step forward and express the beauty and the joy and trust in the divine to be yourself. Happy Valentine's Day. And so it is.
And good morning and happy Valentine's Day. I'm Reverend Judy Anderson, and it's my privilege to close our service today. So let's begin with picking up my mask. And it's the time when we concentrate on our prosperity and the prosperity and well-being of our Center for Spiritual Living. So let's read that prosperity affirmation. I am learning to give joyously, unconditionally, of myself, my time, my love, and my wealth. As I do, I prosper in every way. My life is enriched in everything that matters. My relationships prosper. My financial affairs prosper. My health and creativity prosper. All is well, and so it is. And if you who are listening feel you would like to give to the center, to donate, helping us keep our doors open, you can mail a check. We're at Box 28075, Red Deer, T4N 7C2. Or if you go to our website, www.cslreddeer.org, there is a donate button there, and you can pay either with a credit card or through PayPal. So please know that your contributions, your sharing, are helping us to keep ourselves operating through this time of COVID. What could we use COVID for? Care of, what's for V? What could we use for V?
Victory.
Pardon?
Victory.
Virtual?
Victory. Victory.
Victory. Care of victory in spite of disaster. Whatever. Through the time of COVID, we help each other live through it, and we all grow stronger. And we can grow in faith, we can grow in conviction, we can grow in knowing ourselves through all the time we get to spend with ourselves. And we get to grow in love. Reverend Trust, that was a wonderful talk.
Thank you.
I thank you. A perfect message for the day. Anyway, let's go now to our closing affirmation. I move forward with loving thoughts and loving acts, blessing every step of the journey. My dominant emotions are those of joy and gratitude, and they guide me in the ways of righteousness. Love is the nature of my journey. Law is the way. I embrace it all, and so it is. Please join me now in a short closing affirmative prayer, or what we call spiritual mind treatment. Right here and right now, I know the presence of love. I know the presence of joy, the presence of wisdom, the presence of power. And this presence and this joy and this love and this power I call God. And I know that it is right here, right now, within me, within every being, within the walls of this building, within the boundaries of this community, this country, this planet. Love truly makes the world go round. And I celebrate love. I celebrate joy. I celebrate fun and laughter and wisdom and sharing and caring. Today, I go my way, lovingly and joyously into the next hour, the next day, and so it is.
And so it is.